over to yourself, James, to finish off what you were doing.
Well, I know you've lost me mid-rant there about David Cameron. Another one, as Ian's pointed out, he's not working for us. He's been groomed for a position by his globalist paymasters, and he does his job. And he was a pretty good actor, you know, an affable chap. And of course, we saw the reality on the 24th of June, 4.5 years ago. You know, he promised, "Oh, we'll implement what you decide." But then he goes, hangs up his boots and goes into cashing in on his family's wind farm business, which has been well padded out over the previous few years, thanks to, you know, following these so-called environmental. There's another one, neuro-linguistic programming, Greens and environmentalism. These people have got no interest in the environment or you know, having clean, cheap energy, and you know, it's. But no, David Cameron. What I did want to bring back to is you made an interesting quote from Edward Carson, who's probably a name that most viewers won't have come across. But I believe they have a statue of Edward Carson in front of Stormont at the top of and it's really interesting because what he was highlighting was not necessarily something that's specific to any political party of the day. It's almost the inevitability of the process. You get whether it could be the DUP, whether it's the Labour Party, DUP, Conservative Party, power attracts the disreputable. The disreputable want to get away with criminality. They change institutions and bastardize, if I may use that expression, law and process and our understanding of our rights and processes to engender again. It's self-perpetuating, and that's what a constitution is there to protect we the people against corrupt politicians who take advantage of their of finding themselves in a position of responsibility on public office. So what Edward Carson was describing, a very wise man, describing 100 and some years ago, was merely, it doesn't matter what time in history, it's just a phenomenon that is an inevitable. So, for instance, the Brexit Party, and in the last general election, we took our badges off. We went to fight for somebody who would stand up in the Houses of Parliament to support the union. So I went to Barnsley to support Victoria Felton, who was standing for the Brexit Party in Barnsley Central. And Ian, I think, went to Blenheim, went to support I think it was Richard Taylor, who was standing for the Brexit Party. I think he's obviously he's maybe seen a different path forward for himself. But you know, the reality is, if you think the Brexit Party is a solution, it isn't, and that's not a reflection on anybody who supports the Brexit Party or who sees the problem and thinks that the Brexit Party or Lawrence Fox, for instance, really good guy. He sees all the problems that he sees the real or a lot of the symptoms of the problems, and he wants to do something about it. But replacing what we have with a new, shiny, uncorrupted, what isn't corrupted yet, to replace that shiny new thing would in time attract the wrong people. You see it with the Brexit Party. You know, people are looking to get on an easy, fast track to power. Unless you've got a system and an approach which will tackle the very problem of corruption within the political party system, as we believe we have, and it would be lovely if people want to tell us that we're wrong and we've got it wrong, please do criticise us. Go to 5dd.uk. We are absolutely 100% lifelong to the death in favour of the United Kingdom. That is our country. We want to bring direct democracy, which will, under our constitution, enshrine our inalienable rights that have historically been won, enshrine them so no future corrupt politicians can get their grubby little hands on them, as they've been consistently doing since the Second World War, since Sir Winston Churchill was booed off stage within a week of VE Day at Walthamstow Stadium by the socialists who were waiting in the background. It started within minutes of the Second World War finishing, and people need to wake up to these insidious forces, because they're in the Conservative Party, they're in the Labour Party, they're in the Lib Dems, they're in the SNP, they're in the Plaid Cymru Alliance. I'll let you know more about the characters involved in Northern Ireland politics, but I'll tell you, they're representing 1% at one end, 1% at the other end, and the 98% in the middle in Northern Ireland are being absolutely ignored. Now, look at the Brexit Party. Brexit Party have registered their party in Great Britain. Have they registered it in Northern Ireland? Is Nigel Farage calling for people in Northern Ireland to stand for the Brexit Party? Well, the answer's, well, check at the Electoral Commission yourselves, chaps. When are the Conservatives party taking an in? When are they putting counts? Maybe they've done a little bit better job than the Labour Party, the Lib Dems. Obviously, we're a direct democracy party. We don't see you, John, as any different. I don't see you, John, as any differently to as I see Ian over in Wales. And the Direct Democracy Party, 5-star Direct Democracy Party, registered at its inception in Northern Ireland and on the mainland, because we are a party for the United Kingdom, one country. And I call myself English, and I call myself English, and I proudly do so, because that's what I am. And an Englishman can be a proud unionist, as a Scotsman can be, as a Northern Irishman can be, and as a Welshman can be.
Yeah, indeed. You mentioned there the Edward Carson speech, and I've just sort of pulled it up, and I would like to maybe narrate some words from that speech. Just to you place these words. I mean, these words were written in around 100 years ago, and you would think literally they were written for today. Excuse me. Sorry about that. What a fool I was. I was only a puppet, and so was Ulster, and so was Ireland, in the political game that was to get the Conservative Party into power. And of all the men in my experience that I think are the most loathsome, it is those who will sell their friends for the purpose of conciliating their enemies. And perhaps still worse, the men who climb up the ladder into power, of which even I may have been a humble rung, and then when in power, when they have got into power, they kick away the ladder away without any concern for the pain or the injury or the mischief or the damage that they do to those who have helped them gain that power.